If shamans trigger you, you need to take a step back and reevaluate your life, but also this might not be the video for you. Germany, if Germany's a trigger, I get it, baby girl. Deutschland. Deutschland is a scary place. They've done a lot of scary stuff. But it's the setting. We have nouns, okay? Person, places, and things, and that's one of them. Technically, too, because it's a place, and I suppose it is a thing, okay? We're also having new grammar discoveries today. You just gotta be ready for the ride because this story touches on everything. We have insane alcohol consumption, okay? We have the potentiality, let's go with that, of throwing yourself in front of a bus. We do. We have composers. We touch it all. So lock in and buckle up because the story begins now. And where does it begin but the United Nations? Yeah, that's right. Oh yes. Oh yes, the United Nations. We were studying the United Nations. International diplomacy through the lens of environmental sustainability in the Netherlands and in Deutschland. Das Deutschland, okay? And we'd finished our little study abroad and it was time to celebrate. So what do we do but go to a sausage fest? We go to a sausage fest to eat the Wiener. Das Wiener. Das Wiener is everywhere and it is time to eat Das Wiener. Oh, you have Das Wiener? You have Das Wiener? Give me Das Wiener. Das Wiener. Except no. No Das Wiener for Jake. Because Jake was Das Vegetarian at the time. So during our little celebration dinner, I did not partake in Das Sausage. And I really wasn't into Das Bier either. Das Bier. I'm not a big beer drinker. If I wanted to drink bread, if I wanted to drink yeast, I would eat someone out who has a UTI, who's a squirter. That's disgusting. Except it's not because, women's bodies are women's bodies. I mean, people's bodies are people's bodies. If you have a UTI, get that checked out because that could become really bad. That could become bad. This is not medical advice, but get that checked out. But in general, I don't like drinking beer, and I was not eating das Wiener, das sausage. So during the end celebration to our time in Germany, I didn't eat. I maybe had a fry or two. And otherwise, I felt like I was good. But this is an important contextual element to the story at hand. Because, in essence, I was thriving, surviving on an empty stomach. Okay? See, my voice just shook a little there because of foretelling. Okay? We see shadowing in the future, and it's telling us that this is about to not be good. Eat. It's important to eat, okay? It's good for you. It's good. Nibble, consume, mamas. Put it in and absorb those nutrients. That's what I say to your dad every night. Okay. The silence of the lamb. The silent of the lamb. So, it is the end of our environmental diplomacy, international diplomacy, study abroad. We have our celebration dinner. And what do we decide to do after? Well, we have a conversation. We have a conversation because the issue is that throughout this whole trip, every person took a day and they bought the alcohol that day. Before when we were in the Netherlands, baby girl, we were going to coffee shops like it was going out of style, coffee shops being where they sell la ganja. And we were going to these coffee shops, and let me just say I became a caffeine addict. But once we got to I'm getting them. I want to say Ausland, but I know that's bad because that's like Auschwitz in land. And I don't even want to touch on that subject. I mean, it's important in the context of Germany, but yes, not right now in this story, right here, right now. Oh my God, I'm going to cancel myself. Okay. But what we need to discuss is that when we were in the Netherlands, we were doing that. And when we were in Germany, we were more just drinking because we were allowed to do whatever was legal. That's what our school said we were allowed to do. And no one really wanted to push the envelope too far, except for me later in this story when I escape a frickin' hospital. Okay, anyways, let's get back to it. So it's our last night in Germany, and everyone else had already bought the alcohol for the nights, and it was me and this guy's Mike's turn to buy it. So we are like, okay, let's buy it. It's our grand celebration. Like, this is our last night all together before everyone goes their own separate ways. Let's drink. Let's drink. So we buy, I think, like a handle of tequila and a handle of vodka and some chasers. But then we get back to the dorms. And everyone's like, oh, baby girl, we actually have an early flight tomorrow. I don't want to drink. And we're like, we just spent like a good amount for us at the time. You know, we were like broke college students. It was like probably like $5 each. And we wanted to drink and no one else wanted to drink. And it was becoming a problem. So we're like, guys, let's do it. And the very specific piece of context that you're missing here is that neither of us had early flights the next day. Right? He was going, I think, to visit family in Europe. I have no idea. White people are very strange that way. Just imagine having family in Europe. I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, none of mine probably survived, going back to the German topic that we don't want to talk about. And then also I'm Filipino. So like they're not there. They're not in Germany. Anyways, okay, we're getting distracted. Okay, let's refocus, Jake. Okay, let's refocus. We both don't have early flights tomorrow. So he was going to visit family, and I was actually going to a work abroad in London, which is a whole other story time we have to talk about, because I was living with this composer. I was living with this composer who was extremely creepy. Okay. Think like the movie Ma, but make it like composer. Extremely strange man. Same haircut too. Same haircut. Yeah. But like looking under my door frame, like the lights. Oh, it was weird. I didn't have a private bathroom that was connected. So like that created a whole bunch of like situations that we probably shouldn't talk about. Or we'll talk about it in another video. But anyways, we both didn't have to catch early flights. So we were like, okay, let's start frickin' drinking. And then you build it, they will come. And that's what happened, or so I thought. Because the last thing I remember, and it's never good. It's never good to start a story off with the last thing I remember is Mike telling my roommate Diego countdown from 10 in front of like a little group of some of our friends. And Diego's like, what? And then Mike's like, no, you got to count down from 10. And Diego's like, why am I counting down from 10? And Mike's like, just count down from 10. And so Diego starts counting down from 10, 10, 9, 8. And that whole time he's counting down from 10, he just takes the bottle of tequila, puts it to his mouth. That's the last thing I remember. I don't even remember doing it myself. I don't remember at all. Then there's a flash, and I remember us like running out of the dorm. Blackout. And I'm not saying that this is funny or fun. Okay, this is a serious situation, but I'm just a funny and fun person. So obviously it's going to come off as woo! Anyways, there's two ways I can then tell this story once we reach this inflection point, if you will. The first is what I remember. And the second is the truth behind what actually occurred. And the way I think we're going to go about it today is I'm going to tell you what I actually remember first. And then I'm going to weave back in the truth so that together we have a complete picture. So, blackout. Curtain closed. Chapter 2. Open your books, baby. Oh my God, what just happened? Baby girl. Baby girl, you know what I'm... Okay. Chapter 2. Hospitalization. I wake up. I'm naked. I'm afraid. I'm under like some sort of like tarp-like blanket, very light tarp-like blanket in a hospital bed, in a hospital room, alone and scared. I'm a woman in Chicago who's scared. I'm scared. I'm a woman in Chicago who's scared. And I am. I am scared. I'm naked. I have an IV plugged in my arm. I'm in an empty hospital room. I don't see anyone else around me. I don't know where my clothes are, my phone is, anything. But I'm strapped up, baby girl. And I'm not usually the one to get strapped up. Let me just say that. But I have no idea what's going on. I wake up, I'm still drunk for sure. I know that for a fact. And I'm like, oh God, I have no recollection of how I got here or what happened. And then all of a sudden, like 3 German nurses like come down the street like nine, nine, nine. No, they weren't like that, but it's like Helga, Hilda, I don't know, Adelaide, and they're literally just laughing at me. They were like walking by. I don't know how to laugh in German, but hardy har har. They're just laughing at me. Das idiot, das fight in the bed, in the bed, the bed. He does not know how to drink das alcohol. Oh my God, that was bad. That was bad. That was really bad. Okay, just pretend I didn't do that. But yeah, they're literally laughing at me, and I'm like, trying to figure out what's happening, and I'm like, wo ist el doctor? Wo ist der doctor? Wo ist das doctor? They're like, okay, das doctor come, das doctor is coming. Das doctor kommst, das doctor kommst. But the doctor never comes. The doctor never comes. And I'm just sitting there, barbecue sauce on my titties, naked though, naked titties, underneath a tarp. And I'm like, what is going on? Finally, one of like the nurses, Hilda, Hega, whatever their names are, beautiful people. Beautiful people. They took care of me. I will say that. I'm like, can you please tell me what happened? They're like, you were brought here. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, baby girl. Not that I was brought here. How did I get there? And they're like, just start saying shit. And they're like, you're fine. You're fine. You just have IV. We didn't even need to pump your stomach. Like, they're like, you are literally the dumbest fuck. Remember 2 neurons? Mm-hmm. She's back. 2 neurons bouncing together. Yep, for a brain. Mm-hmm. She's back, baby girl. She's back. And I'm like, oh crap. So I'm like, well, where are my clothes? And then like behind the curtain, it's like a game show opens up and Helga like is holding up like a knapsack. Like, but like a stereotypical like perspective of like what like a little kid who like abandons home would look like in like a 1930s cartoon. That's what they give me. And inside is all of my clothes yacked upon. Yacked upon. They're literally covered in throw up. It's like, would you like some clothes with your side of throw up? Or would you like some throw up with your side of clothes? That's probably it. Something like that, right? And I'm like, oh. And they're like, we'll be back with like other clothes. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, my phone? And then they're like, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom, baby girl. We're not touching that. You can touch it. So I fist my way through this bomb bag. I fist my way through, and then I pull out my phone. Homegirl's hanging on by a thread. 2%. 2%. And I see it's like 7 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm like, oh shit skis. This is not good. This is really bad. And I have some options now. I have 2% on my phone. It's like you get into jail. You have 1 call available. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Your mother? Have you met my mother? She would lose her absolute shit. My siblings? Tattle back to her. You need someone you can trust. Someone who's gonna stay calm, stay zoned in, locked in on the situation at hand. So I call none other than Papa. Papa Gooby. If you've seen what my mother is like, my father, my appa. Oh my God, what just happened? I just became like Korean, I think. I love Korean food. I do though. I actually really do. Anyways, I call him. I call my father. If my father is Zen, my mother is chaos, right? Even though my mother thinks she's Zen. But my father is like the chillest person on planet Earth. Like to the point where it's like you have to like find your own path, bud. Like that sort of thing. So I'm like, I call him up. I'm like, hey, he's like, it's 2 a.m. I'm like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "Well, what's going on?" I'm like, "I'm in the hospital." And don't forget, I'm still drunk. He's like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I drank too much." And I can like immediately hear the clogs click in his brain through the phone, through like 5,000 miles of distance of him beginning to not give a fuck and just be like, "Okay, this boy needs to figure it out on his own. It's not papa time. It's time to grow up." And he's like, so I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in the hospital." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I drank too much." And he's like, "Well, you should probably get yourself out of there." And that's when I'm like, mm, mm-hmm, okay. And I'm drunk. So I am taking everything he says literally. So I hang up. Well, really, he hangs up on me. He hangs up on me. And I think to myself, do I have everything I need? I'm like, no, I have no clothes. I'm naked. So I bide my time, having a little bit of an anxiety attack. And then Helga, Hilda, or Adelaide comes back around with extra large slacks. Extra large slacks and a small baby tee. I'm like, where did these clothes come from, Helga? I mean, beggars can't be choosers, you know? But like, what's going on here? I'm literally like 2'5". Shaq literally has a testicle that's larger than me. That's how tiny I am. That's how tiny. Kevin Hart even has a testicle larger than me. Okay? That really puts it into perspective. Okay. But I'm tiny, and these are extra, extra, extra large slacks. I'm like holding them up. I like get into them. I can like stand in one pant leg. It's like one of those weight loss commercials where like the whole guy is standing next to me, like the Subway guy, who's evil, by the way. He's very bad. He's very bad. He's a bad person. But like that big on me. And then baby size tee. It's honestly like an outfit that I would wear today, but this was like before that trend was big. Well, but, you know, I have clothes now. I'm no longer naked and afraid. So I put the clothes on and the nurses get like called into the room for like an actual emergency instead of some American idiot who just drank too much, right? And I'm like, "Oh my god. I got to get out of here. My father told me to get out. I got to run." And instead of being like a normal smart person and texting any of my friends that were there, anyone, and instead of like using my brain instead of two neurons that are bouncing together trying to create thoughts. I pull out the IV in my arm. I yank it out, blood spewing. Blood spewing all over my new baby tee, my extra large slacks that look like they're hand knit from like some farmland in Deutschland, you know? And I run. Baby girl, I run. I ran. I guess it's pronounced Iran, but like I ran. I ran and I didn't look back, baby girl. I had that knapsack over my arm, smelling like vom. And I look crazy, holding on to like the big pants on the side, bunching them up, wearing my cute ass baby tee, drunk, and I run. I run. It's like I'm in a game of Among Us, okay? I'm like dodging, weaving, hiding behind walls so that like security doesn't see me. Security definitely sees you, baby girl. There's cameras everywhere. But I think I'm literally in like Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like everywhere and oh, and I'm nowhere. I'm everywhere and I'm nowhere. I am Speed, okay? Lightning McQueen who? And I'm like taking elevators up, down. This hospital is ginormous. And I have no idea where I'm going. And I can't figure out how to get out because I'm still drunk. Okay? And to put some like size comparisons, baby girl, because I'm a size queen. No. But to put some size comparisons up there for you on the screen, I'm not really because I'm lazy. But like Berlin is huge. It is a very, 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 very spread out city. Do I have a booger on my nose? It is a huge city. It's very like sprawling. Not a lot of tall skyscrapers, but just so many buildings everywhere. And the buildings are massive. And this hospital was no exception. And it was in the heart of Berlin. And I cannot find my way out. And I'm like dodging, weaving behind carts. I'm going up elevators, down steps. And finally, as if I've like manically escaped a mental institution, which by at this point, they should have put me in one. They should have. I was a patient that needed that kind of help in that moment. But instead, what happens is the good Lord leads me down a path and I escape. And I run and I run and I run out the ER entrance. And I make it all the way to the end of the parking lot that's like on the main road. And I go and I pull my phone out of that vomit hand. Oh my God. Another stroke. Why am I having so many today? And I pull my phone out of an... Oh my God, what just happened again? I pull my phone out of that vomit-coated knapsack with all of my other clothes. And I go to call an Uber. And what does she do? She dies. She died! Oh, she died? She died. She died. She died. She died. And I'm like, oh shit. So I go and I reach back into the vomit knapsack and I go and I pull out my wallet. Because I'm like, okay, I'll take a bus or a subway or oh my God. Okay, I talk. There's no wallet. There's no wallet, baby girl. There's no wallet. So I'm like, mother. My roommate or whoever, one of my friends, they must have taken my wallet, or I freaking lost it at this point. Or it's still in the hospital. I'm having a nervous breakdown. But I decide what's best is I get back to the dorm and then I like make a game plan from there. Because I don't even know who I can trust anymore. I don't even know like if my friends were the one that brought me into the hospital. And I'm drunk. I'm not thinking clearly. I'm not thinking clearly at all. So what do? I start walking. And where am I walking for, you might ask? Well, my dorm. But where is the dorm? And this is a word I will never forget for the rest of my life. Gnaisa Nostrafa. Gnaisa Nostrafa. I know I just said it differently twice in a row, but I think it's the so sound, okay? But that is the name of the street that my dorm was on. And I remember them telling us, if you forget, or if not, if you forget, see, that's how dumb I am. If you remember anything, remember this. Gnaisa Nostrafa. And that's what I remembered. So I go looking for Gnaisa Nostrafa. But what's important to keep in mind at this time is that during our study abroad, at the same exact time, the Syrian refugee crisis was at its peak, the precipice of newsworthiness. Do you remember? It was like in the news non-frickin' stop. Everything was the Syrian refugee crisis. I mean, as it should be. It was crazy. It was literally insane. And the way some governments responded was even worse. Whole other topic. But this is important context because at the time, Angela Merkel, who was in charge of Deutschland at the time, she had created this policy that was basically like an open door policy, like to all of the Syrian refugees. If you can make it to Deutschland, das welcome here. We will not say nein to any of you. If you can make it here, come. You can get here. But this was hugely controversial at the time, both inside of Deutschland and outside of Deutschland, right? Because some people were like, yes, you go, girl. You go, girl. Okay, they'll help our economy, girl. And we're just like normal, good people who like care about other people. Like we actually just care about other people. And then there were people on the other side that were like, this is going to destroy our economy and we're actually secretly super racist. So it was super controversial. But why is this important, you ask? Well, I'm wandering the streets of Berlin. I don't speak German, but I can if you like. Ich bin auch to be clear. Okay. I had to do it once. I just had to do it once. I had to do it. I waited 25 minutes to do it. You can give me that. You can give me that. Okay? Anyways, I'm wandering the streets of Berlin. I don't speak German, but I can if you like, but I can't because I can't speak German. Okay? I'm wearing extra large brown raggedy slacks and a small little baby tee that's like torn and tattered and it doesn't really fit me. I have a knapsack over my shoulders like I'm a wandering person. At the time, I'm also super, super tan, part Filipino. It was the summer. This was pre-Accutane, so my skin was just absorbing color, sun, beauty. And I had really long curly hair and a little bit of stubble because I was being lazy, okay? And I'm not saying that refugees have a look. I'm not saying that at all. Refugees cannot possibly have a look because refugees come from all over the world, but I am saying that other people hold that perception, that assumption of what a refugee would look like, of what a Syrian refugee would look like. And I fit that stereotype. It's horrible. It's horrible. Not to fit the stereotype of a Syrian. Not saying that, duh. I'm saying it's horrible that people have stereotypes. And it's horrible that they assumed anyone could be that. But me in that moment, especially when I was drunk, not knowing where I was going, being an absolute fool and an idiot with two neurons bumping together for a brain. That's bad. That's really bad. That's not good. That's not good luck for me. That's not a good situation for anyone. It's hurting all of us. It's hurting the Syrians. It's hurting the Berliners. It's hurting me. And so as a result, I'm wandering and no one's helping me. No one's like even coming up to me or like trying to be close to me or like, oh my God, like why? What's going on? You're like a small, like drunken child with a knapsack of vomit coated clothes and you're wandering the streets at 7 a.m. No one's like that. Instead, they're like staying away and like, I'm like wandering up to people like hysterically crying, please, wo ist Gneise Straße? Wo ist Gneise Straße? Where is Gneise Straße? I remember even going to like this floral shop. This beautiful, gorgeous, lovely, nice looking woman was like setting up the flowers for the day. I go in. Oh my God, I thought I had met Mama. Mama! Mama! Mama, I need some milk. Girl, you would have thought that I sat in my hands, clapped, and rubbed them all over her face. That I had like stolen her firstborn and recruited the child to become JoJo Siwa's backup dancer, not black up dancer. But yeah, you would have thought I had like committed some heinous act of tyranny and cruelty upon this woman. No, I just was a drunken fool. I just was potentially hate crimed for someone thinking that I was a Syrian refugee. I was just, get out of my space. And you know what, girl? I agree. I shouldn't have been there. I was being a dumb American. Two neurons bouncing together. Or this is what I thought. And so I just keep wandering. I'm looking for Gneise Straße. No one's helping me. And it must be 2 hours at this point. 2 hours of wandering. And I see a double-decker bus. I have no money. I wish I could get on. And I make a pact with myself in that moment. And I say, if you cannot figure out a way to get home in the next 30 minutes, you're not riding that bus. The bus is riding you. You got a 30-minute timer, Jake. And then it's time to go splat. Because you can't do this anymore. I was alone. I was scared. I was depressed. The anxiety was setting in. I was not thinking clearly. I also, at the time, I was like, oh, all my friends abandoned me. What even happened? How did I even get in the hospital? Like, what even happened? Was I drugged? What happened? Literally, what went down? I was in shambles. No one wanted to help me. And I was lost. And I'm wandering like one of the biggest European cities in the world. Or in Europe. And I just was like, there's only one way out of this at this point. There's only one way out. And like those 30 minutes go by in an instant. In an instance. But they go by fast. And just as when I'm getting at my lowest point, I'll never forget this for as long as I live. I walk up towards this intersection. I'm like crying. And I finally see just this one daddy. That's all I can honestly say. He was a daddy. He was a fine specimen. He was a fine specimen. And I go up to him. Snot in my nose, crying, hair a mess, dirt all over my face at this point. I don't even know. I don't even think I fell. I think I just like smashed dirt into my face to like hurt myself because I was so upset. Bag full of vomit. I say, Daddy, vad är gnejsen och strasa? Vad är det? And this man deserved the orgasm to end all orgasms. Oh my God. If I had been of better mind, soul, and spirit, I would have gotten down on my knees in that exact moment. Sucked him off until he came so hard he would never be able to stop coming ever again. It would become like a national news story. Man unable to stop orgasm. It would be so everlasting. He would set records, and it would eventually like impact his mental health because like he would just continuously come because of me. And it would be so overpowering that he would like have a psychotic attack. He'd have to get on medications. Lorazepam. Something to mellow him out. He would have to get like a vasectomy of sorts. Yes, he would have to get a vasectomy so that at least the orgasm would not be wet. So it would be a dry orgasm and it would still keep happening. It wouldn't stop. Even with the drugs, that just numbed it for him a little bit. He'd have to like wear like a penis cup, a ball cup, like one of those shield cups to protect the head of the skin on his head from his pants because it was that sensitive from the nonstop cummage. He'd be brought on to Ellen, Oprah Winfrey. They'd literally bring back their shows just to interview him. That's how hard this everlasting cum would last. He'd literally actually become world famous. He'd write a memoir. The time Jake made me come. The cum that never stopped. A memoir. And even in death, he would keep coming and for like 6 days after he died. Sort of like, you know how like when the sun explodes, it's going to take like 7 days to reach us? You know? You know that? Like his like and like how your stomach can still gurgle after you're dead, like your bodily functions still happen, you know? He would still be coming for like 6 days after he died, like in his coffin. All because of this. And why? Why was he coming so hard, you ask? Well, it's because he told me where Gneiss Nostrosa was, motherfucker. That's what happened. He told me where Gneiss Nostrosa was, this daddy of a man. And in fact, it was only 3 blocks down the street. It's literally crazy how life works. One moment, you're going to throw yourself in front of a double-decker bus. The next minute, it's taking all of you not to get down on your knees and suck a stranger for telling you where the name of a street is. And then you're suddenly gliding back home to your door. Gliding, mamas. Gliding. Woo! And I get there. I cross the threshold. And right as I cross the threshold, do you know what happens? Diego, my roommate, is like running out in a tizzy. And he sees me. He's like, oh my God, I was just coming to get you. Oh my God, I just finished packing. I was coming to get you before I head to the airport. I'm like, sure you were, but I can't be mad at him. No, because I need the truth, mamas. I need to know what happened. And this is when he tells me. He brings me back into our dorm room. There's people from our group all around us. They're like looking at me as if I'm like a Martian or like someone that just came back from Nam, like the Vietnam War. Like, let me hear your war stories, Daddy. My husband is back from war. And I tell them what happened to me or what I think happened. And then I hear what actually went down. And let me just tell you, it's not good. It's not good. So, back to the night before. Mike holding up the tequila bottle to his mouth, drinking for 10 seconds. Diego counts down. I almost just said his real name. Oh my God. And then I do that. And then we run out. We do run out. And then we try to get into a club, but I'm too drunk. And they're like, okay, let's get him some food. Okay. So Diego, Mike, and like this girl, they go and they get me food, allegedly. They get me fast food. I think it was McDonald's. And I'm like, I want fries. Because remember, I'm das vegetarian. I'm das vegetarian. I don't eat das Wiener. I don't eat das Burger. So they get me fries, and I'm like, I want ketchup. So I go over to the thing. I get ketchup, but I squirt it all over myself. All over my hands, all over my chesticles. And it looks like I'm bleeding all over the place. And I'm stuffing these fries into my mouth. The ketchup's everywhere. The grease is everywhere. I look like a dirty, sweaty, bloody pig. So then we try to get back into the club, and he's like, you thought you weren't getting it before. Baby girl, you think you're getting it now? Who did you kill? Who did you kill? So my friends are like, oh, crap. Let's just take him home. We have early flights tomorrow anyway, so it's fine. So Diego, Mike, and that girl, they go to take me home, and they go down into one of the subways, and we're waiting for a subway. And the interesting thing about Berlin subways is that there's no till. There's no, like, kiosk. There's nothing you need to, like, go through or jump over to get in. It's, like, on an honor-based system. So, like, if you get on the train, you are assumed by, like, the local government, the police, the, like, people that, like, keep all track of the money and the payments that you're paying. And then, like, on random trains, there'll be someone going through just to make sure that everyone does indeed have an account that, like, they've paid, etc. You have to, like, show it to them, your ticket or whatever. Even if it's on your phone. Or if it's, like, a piece of paper. Or if it's, like, a card, you know. And so as a result of that, a lot of, like, homeless people or, like, just people in general hang out in the subway stations, the underground ones, like the U-Bahn. The U-Bahn, at night or when it's, like, super hot out, and it was the dead of summer, so it was super, super hot out, and these places, I think they were air-conditioned as well, so it was like, yeah, of course. So while I'm down there, I'm, like, laying on the ground while we're waiting for a train to get back, and this woman comes over, and she tells my friends in German that she's a shaman. And they don't fully understand what's going on. None of them can really speak German. And this shamanic woman is like, she's like been brought over by my energy. And she's like, something is very wrong. Something is very wrong with him. And she's like putting her hand over my body. And she's like, his spirit is leaving him. His spirit is going. But it's in German. So she's like, das Boy, das something, das wrong, is das wrong, das spirit, das leaveth. I wish I could do accents. I would be so funny if I could do accents. I can do a German accent, but the only way I can do it is if I pretend I have a mustache like this, which is not appropriate. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No, that's so bad. That's so bad. But I can make the joke. I am Jewish. But that's bad. I'm not going to do that on the internet. Okay? Guys, I'm not going to do that on... Okay. Anyways, my friends are now freaking out because the shaman has come over and told them that my life force is leaving my body. And they're also drunk, but they're not as drunk as me. So they're freaking out. Also, everyone on this trip was a freshman for some reason. So they're all like super inexperienced with drinking. Like I remember I was the person that had like had the most experience with drinking, and I hadn't even had that much at the time. And I was like, okay, this is sort of crazy. And I should have known better as a result of that. But they're freaking the fuck out now. So they're like, okay, what do we have to do? The train's not coming. We have to call an ambulance. Who the fuck calls an ambulance, bitch? Who the fuck calls an ambulance? I'm fine. I'm just too drunk, okay? I just need to sleep it off, man. We don't need an ambulance. But they get an ambulance. And Diego goes with me in the ambulance to the hospital. Because a shaman told him that my life force was leaving my body. And I get to the hospital and he like makes sure I'm all checked in. He like makes sure he has my wallet but keeps my phone. I keep my phone. I don't know why he did that, but he probably had a smart reason to. And then he goes back and he tells me that he's going to get me in the morning. I obviously don't remember that. And then I go on my whole journey escaping the hospital as if I'm in Mission Impossible. And then I learn this whole story. And I'm like, holy fuck. And then basically everyone has to go immediately after. And I head off to the composer to have my horror movie like experience. And eventually I tell my mother and she loses her shit. She loses her shit. But that is the short and sweet of it all, of the time I escaped a German hospital. And now, as a result of that, I do have a different relationship with alcohol. It got bad. It got bad at one moment, which is another story time, which is like actually dark. That one we'll have to talk about another time. But something very bad happened to me. But yeah, we live and we learn, man. We live and we learn. You have to have a good relationship with alcohol. Either you don't have one at all, or you have one and you know how to navigate it. And that's what I've learned. This month, I'm taking off drinking. I haven't drank all month. I'm doing may not drink. It's like a more low-key version of like New Year's resolution. It's like may not. So like you can here and there, but like your goal is not to. And I haven't yet. And it's been like, I started a little bit before. I think I started like 20 days ago. Today's like the 15th, I think, when I'm filming this. So I have a different relationship now. It's better. I'd say it's not perfect still. Something I still want to work on. Maybe eventually become sober one day. But yeah, it's important to know how substances react with your body. And how to take care of yourself. Because that was not taking care of myself. But it makes a good story time. So yeah, I think that's this episode of Not Another Sesh. If that's what we're calling it. I think we maybe will stick with the lorazepam. I like that. I don't want to hear your diagnosis yet, but I like that you're giving me the druggers. Actually, I shouldn't make that joke after I just had a whole little heartfelt speech about substances. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know if you want more story times. Like, subscribe, do your big one, as Mistress would say. I got to figure out another thing to say. But yeah, I appreciate you guys listening to this craziness. I know it sort of ended on a no, but it's important to bring it back to center, as my mom would say. Mama Goopy. Okay, well, bye.